Well. What are you wearing?
I don't worry. I'm wearing this is actually a giveaway at like a Devils game. It's just like the head of like the mascot. So I just thought it'd be funny to like the second that people like tune in, they're just like,
What is this?
what is happening? So all right,
It's
so
an interesting hat.
that was
I don't
what a way to intro.
I don't know if it resembles the mascot close enough.
Um, if you saw it in person, I feel like you'd agree.
Okay, fair. Maybe I
It's
just don't see the
best
mascot.
giveaway of the season. Best
maybe,
giveaway.
maybe I just don't see the mascot enough.
Probably not.
What's going on, though, everybody? Happy Victoria Day for us Canadian folks, and for the U.S. people, it's Monday. Yet again.
It's literally just it's Monday, May 19th in United States, and it's not a significant day at all.
Well, it is a significant day.
Yeah, in the hockey world. I'm talking
In the
about
hockey world,
I'm talking about like in the entire country. There's nothing going on.
It's the not exact date, but it's an anniversary now for the last 7 years of the Leafs getting knocked out in a game 7. Maybe not the last 7 years in a row, but
Or in the
7
playoffs.
years in the playoffs, getting knocked out in a game 7 yet
Yep.
again. We're going to talk about it because it kind of it'll eventually relate going into the offseason, what I wanted to bring up for the Flames.
Yeah.
World Championships are still going on. The playoffs start round robin. Excuse me, the quarterfinals begin later this week. Mackenzie Weegar still getting in some good reps. Anderson, who I believe scored the other day for Team Sweden. Backlund, I think, had a pair of points as well too. So overall, not a lot of Flames news going on right now. Memorial Cup coming up. For those of you who watch the Memorial Cup, the only Flames prospect that we're going to be looking out for is Andrew Basha, who plays with Gavin McKenna for the Medicine Hat Tigers. So that begins on Friday. Actually, the Medicine Hat Tigers will take on the host city of the Rimouski Oceanic. And then it's the Moncton Wildcats and the London Knights, who are the OHL champions. And I believe the QMJHL is going to a game 6 between Moncton and Rimouski. And Medicine Hat won in 5 games, I believe, over the Spokane Chiefs. So there you go.
Yep.
All right, let's get into the fun stuff here. First thing I wanted to bring up, Neil, was a quote from last night.
Oh God!
So we all know we're not
recapping it.
We're not good. Well, we know what happened, right? But
we all saw it.
We're not the biggest eyes when it comes to the Maple Leafs. We know it, obviously.
No,
right?
go.
Even throughout
the
network.
If you want to get a perspective on that, just go see like Steve Dangle or somebody.
It's the best. It's more. Listen, I got a lot of respect for him. It's the best way to do it. I do.
I've watched like every year. I watch like I'm one of the he always calls it the sick freaks that watch one video a year, and it's just him crashing out at the end of the season.
Yeah.
This year he just looked angry, not even sad. He just looked so.
It was anger because he was. Listen, it was anger because he was right after Game 5.
He was
right. He said they were going to win Game 6, pull us back in, and they got throttled last night. So
they are the team that is the essential kicking your fans in the you-know-what. I mean, really.
So here's the quote. From Austin Matthews, I just thought we had too many passengers throughout the rest of the game, and we just weren't on the same page.
No. That is okay. Such an ignorant statement. Because I'm gonna bring it up right now. All right, I'm gonna say it. Kyle, how many games did Austin Matthews play in the playoffs?
This year?
This year.
7-6, so 13 games.
He played 13. How many goals do you think he scored?
Well, he scored in Game 6, and he scored, I believe, once or twice, maybe against Ottawa.
3.
Yeah, 3.
And 11 points.
Most of those were assists. Yeah,
and most of them were assists. You want to talk about passengers? Start with this man. I mean, what? And like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, Mitch Marner is the passenger among passengers. He's like the president of the fan club here. William Nylander, look, in the first round, it looked like William Nylander was going to go off. It looked like he was going to literally carry this team on his back. I don't even recall if he scored a goal in the series. I have to be honest with you. I don't remember.
Well, he scored in Game 6. He scored the one goal in Game 6.
All right,
That was
he
the
scored
game
the one
winner.
goal in Game 6. But like,
I'll give him credit in Game 6, though. I will.
sure, yeah, because we needed a response from him and the Leafs, and we got it. The problem that I have with this quote is that it's not like this dude's been carrying his weight.
Right.
It's not, if anybody, who could have said this and it would have been okay, justified?
Sure.
Max Domi.
Yeah.
That could have been justified because at least he did something, not only in Game 7, but in general in this series.
I would say Domi or Steven Lorentz. I thought
Or
Lorentz
Max
was good last.
Pacioretty.
Yeah, I thought Pacioretty, Lorentz, and Domi, I thought were the only guys who really showed up last night.
Steven Lorentz, wasn't he not just on the Panthers last year?
He was.
Oh my God.
I think, just looking at this quote,
He's just...
I think he knows, though. He's got to know that his contributions weren't there. Right?
He knows.
He knows. He's got to know that. Right? So it's like, just looking at last night, though, right? Just before we look at the bigger picture here, right? Just looking at last night, it's just the same shit over and over and over, 7 times over.
But
that's why I thought it was surprising. I thought I was shocked when Brad Marchand, after the game, goes, I was legitimately nervous for this game. Because he thought this team was better. And to his credit, I think there's some truth to that. I think that this team, I think this was the best unit they've assembled over the last 7 to 8 years.
It's up
there. In terms of performance, I think it's up there. But there's still the one constant that remains the same. And it has remained the same ever since these guys have been stuck together. It's the reliability that these guys think that they can get the job done because of, if you want to call it the core 4, I'd rather look at it as the faces of the franchise.
The 5 faces. Because I feel like people don't talk about Morgan Riley enough.
He's got to be up there too.
I don't understand that. Like, they always talk about the core 4. Why is Riley not a part of that? He's been there as long as everybody else.
He should be.
And what did he do in this play? What did he do?
I don't recall him doing much.
Not much, right? No. Oh, and by the way, this is for every Leaf fan that was getting on me on social about Sheldon Keefe. This is my response to you.
Yeah, it's not the problem.
Not the problem. He was never the problem.
It's true.
Very sorry.
True. He was never.
By the way, I have a stat that when you let me, I will share with you because this is insane. This is actually more insane than I thought it was. Okay,
share?
So I can read it to you. I just have it on my phone. Yeah. So this is from Ahmad, the ears, Big Biz the God, or Big _ business _ on Twitter. Okay, this just okay.
All right.
The Toronto Maple Leafs since the lockout. Remember the lockout many years ago, like 20 years ago. 06 missed the playoffs. 07 missed the playoffs. 08, 09, 2010, 2011, 2012 missed the playoffs. 2013 lost in round 1. Yeah. Missed the playoffs from 2014 to 2016. 2017 lost in the first round. 2018 lost in the first round. 2019 lost in the first round. 2020 lost in the qualifying round. 2021 blew a 3-1 series lead. 2022 lost in round 1. 2023 lost in round 2. Last year lost in round 1. 2025 blew a 2-0 series lead. Lost in 7. To end their season.
And even, it's amazing how the series changes, though, because they were up 3-1 in that game 3, right? They were up. They had it in their control, right? And I just told people, to all my family members and whatever, I said, just wait. Be patient. It's going to come. Even after game 5, right? I said, I'm not jumping on it early. I said, just wait. They're not done yet. And they showed it in game 7. Yeah. Did you know since 2004, all the Canadian teams have made at least the conference final, except for these guys? Including the Winnipeg Jets, every single Canadian team has reached the conference final or further, and the Leafs haven't.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How many playoff series wins do the Leafs have since the lockout year? How many? Two.
Two.
Two. How many do the Buffalo Sabres have
I think
since
they also have
2000?
two. I think they also have two. 3 or 4, thank
Four.
you.
Okay. Like, here's the thing. Okay. I'm going to kind of quote Steve Dangle because I watched a bunch of his stuff this morning.
hmm
Because I always like getting the perspective of Leafs people of just how much this means to them. And I look at it and I say to myself that the Leafs since 2018 have been the definition of insanity, doing
Right.
the same thing over and over again, getting the same result. Everybody says, oh, well, this Leafs team is different. It's different, but it's the same. It's different, but it's the same because you have the mix of guys that just don't work. It
Yeah.
has not worked. It won't work. No matter how much you try to change, it will not work.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, this franchise moving forward needs to be blown up. Not in the sense of, ridiculous, like delete the franchise. I'm talking about this era and core needs to be removed because I don't believe that you are going to get any closer than where you got last night. Last night was the furthest that this group of Leafs players have gotten this franchise to in their entire time playing in Toronto. I don't believe that Mitch Marner will be back in Toronto. I think
Oh,
the
no.
feeling,
His fate was sealed at the deadline. They wanted him gone.
yeah, they wanted him gone, and I think the feeling is mutual.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Marner wants to be here anymore, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him, but also I blame him because
Oh,
again,
I
it's
blame him. Oh,
it's
I blame
like
him.
he
Of course
didn't,
I blame him.
John Tavares, he should just leave. He
If he does
doesn't
not, well, he's gonna have to take a discount to stay.
if he
If
wants
not,
to
if not,
stay.
if he does, that's true. If he does, who
Austin
knows?
Matthews, like
He's got 3 years left on that 4-year deal that he
if
signed.
I'm Toronto, I'd start looking around.
I think he has a no move.
I'd still look around.
I don't know if he does. I'd have to look and see. But
I'd still look around.
so
William Nylander, I'm okay with keeping him around because I think that he actually can be
that
something.
right. So that actually brings me to what I wanted to talk about and how it's going to relate here with the
Sure.
Flames. Do you even think it's worth investigating or investing your time into looking at, we'll say the maybe we'll throw Matthew Nyes, Nick Robertson into the conversation here with some of the following free agents coming up here.
Hmm.
Is it worth looking into a guy like Mitch Marner or John Tavares and coming up in free agency? Because, you know, my take is I wouldn't waste my time on Mitch Marner for
Mhm.
the money that he's going to ask for.
Mhm.
Move along. It's not
Mhm.
worth the time to do that. I think Tavares would get a lot of looks, so I don't think that the Flames would necessarily be favored to probably get him. Right? I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to drag him all the way out west. He's whatever. He's home, right?
Yeah.
So it just really relies on how much he wants to win, and maybe he goes to sign with a contender. I would
Signs in
maybe.
Vegas for like a 1-year deal.
That's why
Because
it depends
Vegas.
on what Morgan Frost does this summer because he is an RFA
Sure.
as well.
Sure.
So is it worth investigating? Maybe bringing him in. I don't know. I mean, that's up for debate. I just think that there's better fitted teams out there, so I don't think that's gonna be a realistic possibility.
Hmm.
I'm throwing RFA at Matthew Nyes. I don't care.
I mean,
I don't think what happened to him was necessarily justified looking at this series. I didn't think he was that awful, actually. Considering him
no.
not being on the score sheet much, I thought he actually had a decent series against Florida. So I'd be throwing it at Matthew Nyes for sure. Nick Robertson, maybe that's a discussion for the other day. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of teams should throw out an offer sheet to Matthew Nyes. Because one of two things happens, right? you either jack up the price and force the Leafs to pay more than maybe they were hoping and or expecting,
Comfortable for, yeah.
or if you get him, especially with a lot of these teams, salary caps going up, they have a lot of cap space depending on who you are. Um, Even overpaying, let's call it, for Matthew Nyes may not be that big of a deal because he would end up being one of your core guys without question. I thought overall in the playoffs, I think he really showed his value. I think he showed his worth. And I think that he is going to be coveted because we talked about how this year is going to be the beginning of RFAs being more possible to getting moved to another team. That Matthew Nyes could be the one that really starts that trend. Now, granted, you could say what St. Louis did last year maybe is the beginning of that, but that was also with the uncertainty of where the salary cap was going to go and things like that. So, yes, I would look into that. Nick Robertson, I mean,
I'm just thinking of the compensation because it's like
yeah, he wouldn't
4.2
cost a lot, I
million.
don't think.
Well, if you offer him anywhere, I think it's under 4.2 or 4.6, one of the
For
two.
Nick Robertson.
You're not giving up any compensation, right? That's the compensation line, right? So, yeah, I'd throw $4 million at Robertson. Why not?
I don't see it.
I
I mean,
I would do it short term.
speed.
I would do it for a year or two. Why not? I'd
He
be
brings
curious to
speed
see.
to that to the Flames, which is needed.
Yeah,
I think.
I would love to see
And how
Robertson.
old is he?
Actually.
He's like what, 24?
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's between
Yeah.
maybe
So
22 and 24. Yeah.
what is he, a winger? No.
Yeah, he's a winger.
I mean, he could. Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know
being a good
where we would put him because the
third
more,
line.
you're relying on some of your younger guys to come up, and I think
Yeah,
obviously the
I was
big
going to say
concern is it's center,
third
but
line.
it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Now,
I mean,
also
Huska doesn't care about lines. He just
to
throws
quickly
it out.
mention as well to what was at stake last night, because the Leafs ended up losing in Game 7 last night. The
Mhm.
pick from Florida is no longer going to be 22nd. It's going to be anywhere between 29 and 32. If I'm Calgary, I'm trading down. You've
Yeah,
got the 18th overall pick. I'm trading down.
yeah. Why not?
I don't think there's any
What's wrong
reason
with that?
to not
I
trade
don't
down.
think there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
Because you could
they
get,
had
like,
2 first-round picks last year, don't forget.
yeah, and you could get like probably a couple of maybe mid-round picks for a
Oh
late
god, yeah.
first.
Oh god,
And
yeah.
I'm
It's
not
not a
against
strong
it either.
draft.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. And I think that the way that Craig Conroy wants to do this is that I think he's slowly establishing the core that we have. And then I
Coronado.
also think what
Well, Coronado to
Corn
start, right?
I said slowly. That's why I said
Yeah.
slowly. We're not
Yeah.
there yet. And I think that Conroy understands that like having that kind of flexibility with picks works out in terms of like what he can go
Yeah.
out and try to do.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm totally fine with it in terms of like the UFAs you mentioned. Yeah, I wouldn't touch Marner at all, honestly,
No.
because
Let somebody else go do it.
he's going to want $14 million and he can go to Utah for that. I keep saying Utah because like I think with Utah you have nothing to lose. I really don't think you
He
do.
needs a change of scenery and he just needs to go somewhere quiet.
And like he could go and
Right.
he could be the guy in Utah. And honestly, no pressure. I see very little to no pressure from
He needs to
going
like
there.
go the further out west the better for him, right?
I agree. And
Like I'm trying to think what else here too, like Anaheim. Just go. Like
San
I'm
Jose.
thinking for him, try to get your money, go to San Jose, go
San
play with
Jose
Cody.
actually is pretty interesting because of the fact that like they do
Yep.
have pieces kind of already in place for like
Go to
you know,
San Jose.
you have Tyler Toffoli there already. You have Celebrini, who, by the way, Celebrini playing with Crosby is just not fair because it's just been stupidly good to watch
I
in
know.
World Championships. You have Will Smith. There's someone else I'm missing. Eklund. You have a lot.
Yep.
You have Jason. You have Dickinson.
Askarov as a goaltender. Yep.
Askarov, Dickinson. Give it 2 years, 2-3 years. That's a really good team that could like get back to being a contender in the near future. So
And they have the money to dish it out.
I kind of want to see that now.
I think it's a perfect
I
spot.
actually kind of want to see that now.
Yeah, I think it's a good
So
spot for him. He needs to
Yeah,
go.
I think it's comparatively to the other spots we just mentioned. Like I think that could be a way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, they have a top pick this year as well. So they're getting somebody good.
It's true. You got the number 2 overall pick, and it's probably gonna be another forward. I think they can stack it up forward wise,
Oh,
and
they
don't be surprised if the Sharks could
so,
go after
did
Marner in the
you
summer.
did you see the video that I think Spittin' Chicklets might have posted? At least that's where I saw it. Actually, I
Today?
think your intern might have retweeted it earlier this morning.
Was
It
it
was
today?
it was Marner on the bench at the end
Oh,
of the game, just
yeah.
like uncontrollably like crying, and he just put his head down. And I'm like, I've seen that image from Mitch Marner at least 6 times.
I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, grow up, dude. Yeah, like, oh, boo hoo. I feel so bad for you that you're making fucking $10 million a year or whatever he's making right now.
yeah,
Cry me a fucking river,
oh yeah,
right? You have to, you almost have to be the way that Nathan McKinnon handles interviews, right?
yep.
He doesn't say much, right? And it's got to be that who gives a attitude, right?
We
Like
talked
that's
to Bailey about her experience talking with
literally when
Nathan
she talks to
McKinnon,
Nathan McKinnon. That's what she
and
said.
it's just like McKinnon's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's his mentality. Don't
I don't
give
care.
if like the only way like I don't like the idea that people think that Toronto's a hard place to play.
It is.
I don't think it is. I think they just
You don't
make it
think it
hard on
is?
themselves. Yeah, oh god, yeah. Who listen, if you can't handle outside noise, then don't play. That's why you're getting paid all this money, right? It happens in what let's see, where else does it happen? Montreal for some of the Canadian teams. Christ, we see it all the time in I see it a lot in Calgary. You probably
Yep.
see it a lot up in Edmonton. You see it over in Vancouver. How often do you see it in New York? Maybe that's up for debate. You maybe can tell me on that. But you see it like, yes, this is probably the place where you find it the most. But if you can't handle that,
Yeah.
then go to San Jose, right? Go
Yeah.
then go because that tells me the type of player that you are, right? Like,
Mm,
but also they can't put this on the media. You
yeah.
can't put this on the fans, and I'm going to get to the fans in a second. You can't
I
put
th-
this on the media. That's
no.
their job. They want to make
No.
sure you have the biggest, brightest spotlight, and they earn jersey money too as well whenever they sell jerseys as well too. So I don't care if they want to call it the hardest place to play is Toronto because the media is mean and everybody says mean things. Grow a fucking pair.
Where do
That
you think is the
that
hardest
fucking
place to play?
oh, it's I sorry. Let me like it's still Toronto for some of these guys, but they make it hard to play for
They make it
themselves.
harder on themselves. Yeah.
Just they make it harder on themselves.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the mentality of
I
it.
think Montreal is a hard play. Not saying that's not a bad thing.
Sure.
I'm just saying I think it, but I think they have guys there that like embrace that.
Matthews, I think, can handle it fine, right?
Yeah,
That's
Matthews is
I
Marner.
because I think like the playoff performance is a different storyline here. But Marner continuously bitching and whining at the refs last night and in game 5, and his emotion is such like a baby shit attitude.
Yeah, it's
He would
not good.
be perfect on the second or third line of a team. You're not a first liner, and he's not worth more than $10 million.
I'd go below 10 million.
They made him look like shit these last 7 games.
I
Marner
don't
was a no-show.
I don't believe that he's worth 10 million. I
No.
think honestly, like look at okay, let's use a comparable real quick. The top other than who's the second top free agent this year? It's Nikolai Ehlers, right?
Ehlers,
And we
yeah.
don't know what's going to happen with Ehlers. Ehlers is projected to get somewhere in the ballpark of like 8-something million dollars.
I'd pay that.
I'd pay that in a heartbeat. And you know why? Because even 2 nights ago, Ehlers was doing whatever he could to try to win.
He's worth it.
Not great that he didn't score, but guess what? Ehlers has been to the conference finals.
Mhm.
Ehlers has at least scored
Yep.
in several series in his career. Like, and that dude has just about as much speed as Mitch Marner does.
Right.
So the way I look at it is that Marner should be paid about the same amount, in my opinion, as Ehlers. That's about as far as I'd go with it because my attitude would be there's no doubt that Mitch Marner can score 35, 40 goals a year in the regular season. No doubt. We've seen it. Can do it. Guys, great. Just superstar in one way or the other.
Skillful.
Skillful player. Top level. I don't know how you want to categorize it.
Sure.
However you want to categorize it, people, you can categorize it any way you want. But you can't look at Mitch Marner and say that dude's worth $14 million. That dude is worth $10 million. No. And you know what? I go back to this quote. This was on May 6th of last year. So we're talking about a little over 2 weeks ago. It was like 1 year when Mitch Marner said what it means to be a Leaf. This is his quote. It means the world. Obviously, we're looked upon as, kind of gods here, to be honest. No one thinks that way, buddy. Not a damn person looks at you that way. They don't look at you that way. They could kind of look at it like with Matthews, but not really.
Delusional Leaf fans do.
Yep. For sure. So the whole thing with it is that if Marner thinks that he's going to get $14 million, he's on drugs. And I believe his agent is Pat Pearson, I think it is.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, he's got his work cut out for him. Because how are you going to convince
I can see somebody paying close to it. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see somebody paying it.
But even the most incompetent GMs in this league are still going to think about it and still be like, I wouldn't be surprised, Kyle. I wouldn't be surprised if we go several weeks and he is not signed and he takes a 1-year contract with some cup contender. I'm not joking. Yeah. I think that is a possibility here.
I think his stock fucking plummeted, right? And then so two things before we move on here.
I don't want to move on.
Okay, we can. Just looking at that game last night and just the way it started. Florida was oh my God, the Leafs, like, for the first half of that period, were playing in their own zone. And if it wasn't for Joseph Woll, it probably would have been 3-0 after 10 minutes. It was a dismantling. And credit to the bottom six, Lorentz and Lawton, I think were two of them who had a breakaway yesterday. And really the only people that showed up were the bottom six last night. You knew it was going to come. I said it last night. I said, as soon as Florida gets the first goal, this game's over. It's over. If the Leafs get the first goal, then we got a contest. Florida gets the first goal, that party was over. That ship was sailed. It was a foregone conclusion that they were going to run them out of the building, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to mention
was
the fans.
Oh, God. Is there any in particular?
Well, no. Just for the people who showed up last night. So you mentioned Steve Dangle, and actually it was funny. I did listen, who, by the way, tremendous respect for them down at SDPN. They do a phenomenal job with running their network the way it is.
You know how many games he doesn't go to because he does those streams? I give him a ton of credit.
Huge respect.
He's in his house doing that. Like,
right.
God bless his soul.
They told a story. I believe it was one of their co-hosts, Adam Wilde.
Told
a story of, I believe it was a father and son who drove from, if you don't know, Sault Ste. Marie, which is 4 hours from where I am from, and another 3.5 to Toronto. So about 7.5 to an 8-hour drive. The same day and the same night, they go to watch Game 5, right? And they get bodied, right? And then they have to drive back home. I imagine that for Game 7 last night, that there was some sort of situation. They fucking deserved it. All of that tiredness that they got to get to the game and tiredness going all the way back to Sault Ste. Marie, they fucking deserve it. Every single one of those fans in that building last night, and I would even argue some of them out in Maple Leaf Square, fucking deserve it.
Justin Bieber
all of them deserve it.
It's the Bieber
They deserve none of this. Because you know what I want to relate it to? You know when you get that mail in your mailbox that says you want a free vacation, then you have to attend that 90-minute presser?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. It's those people that go to it and then sign up for the packages that they sell.
Right.
That's exactly what these fans are.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you're fucking paying for.
And
for the amount of money that they had to pay for these last two games, I'm laughing my way to the fucking bank. You guys are idiots. And even more funnier, the idiots who left halfway through the third period last night. You didn't even have the balls to stay the entire game because you wasted your money.
People like that.
You wasted your money. All you could have thought. Think about all the things that you could buy when you dropped anywhere around $1,000 to go to last night's
A
game.
ring for your significant other.
Right.
I'm just-
Anything. You could have gotten anything for around $1,000. Instead, you basically wasted your money. And I am flourishing in every second of it because they deserve what comes to them. For all the times we hear all fucking year that it's their year, it's our year, it's our year, and then they get to suffer and swallow in this shit. Those fans fucking deserve it. Every single one of those fans deserve it because we're already seeing it. I saw it on the news last night where they were interviewing fans. It's okay. We got next year. Fuck you. I hope you show up to the game next year and drop another $600.
People said that? Oh my God.
Yeah, they did. Of course. They deserve everything that's coming towards them. And I don't give a shit. And I hope that they continue to pack that stadium going forward for big playoff games just so they can lose their wad again. Fuck the fans. They fucking deserve it. Every single one of them fucking deserves to drop $1,000 in game 5 and game 7, and they fucking deserved it. And I couldn't be happier. While I'm sitting here saving my money and I get to watch on a beautiful TV here at home. What's the difference? What's the difference? I have no sympathy for them. Fuck them. Enjoy your misery for the next 2 years while the other Canadian teams can figure out their shit in a better way that you haven't since, 2002? When you finally made a conference finals? Couldn't care less. I'd rather look at the other Canadian teams, and we're going to be talking about one of the Canadian teams coming up next.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Damn.
Fuck them.
I'm kind of at a loss for words because I didn't expect that. This clearly runs deep for it's different for me being.
Well, I got a whole fucking family full of Leaf fans.
Well,
and
that's true. Yeah,
listen. I didn't hear shit from them last night. You know when I heard it? When the Flames lost to the Leafs twice this year. I had 20 to 25 text messages from
that's mean.
So you know what?
In the regular season. Okay.
In the regular season. I thought it was a waste of time for me to reach out to them because I know they're going to swallow their own shit.
Yeah. I remember that the Devils went 0 for 3 this year against the Leafs. They played them 3 times. Home opener was against the Leafs.
And you heard it loud and clear.
I heard it. Believe me, I heard people saying like, "Oh, this proves that Sheldon Keefe was the problem." Blah blah blah. And like, yeah, sure. Like the Leafs got further in the playoffs than the Devils. Sure, why not? Whatever you want to say. What was the Devils' excuse? Well, they had half of their damn team on IR. Like, I don't know what you want me to say to that. And they lost to a good team. The Canes are in the conference finals, by the way.
Also, Mitch Marner could be in the conference finals right now.
It could be.
If he just accepted it. But no, he had to prove it with this team, and he fucking couldn't. If the Leafs had if he accepted that and the Leafs had Mikko Rantanen, I think we're sitting here having a different talk today.
I think we are because I think that Mikko Rantanen would have given them an extra oomph. Maybe not at the same level that he's having in Dallas because
look what he's doing though.
Yeah, but he's dominating. He's dominating at every level. Mitch Marner in Carolina. Here's the thing about that. It would have been fine because Marner would be the one thing that the Canes have been criticized for in the past, and that is lack of top flight scoring at times. Sure. And like, look, Svechnikov has stepped up. Aho has stepped up. It's a collective effort on the back end to score. Shane Gostisbehere is having a fantastic playoff. I can't believe I am saying those words. Good on Shane Gostisbehere, really, right? But like, he could just be there and like it's fine. Because the expectation, while high, is not the same.
Right.
Marner wouldn't feel the same, but Marner said, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. So basically what you're telling the Leafs is, I want to get it done here. Okay. Prove it. Prove it. And he didn't. He disappeared again, and he failed again. And
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there's no way to defend yourself. And like you brought up, right? You brought up the game last night. The thing that sucks more than anything else is who of the main guys on Florida scored? Like, who
You could say
did?
the same thing in Game 5 as well, too.
You could say the same thing in Game 5, but like, just look at Game 7 last
Yeah.
night. Barkov didn't get a point. No, he did. He got 2 assists. Sorry, I am wrong. Matthew Tkachuk, who, by the way, has been nothing but a ghost in this entire.
I was watching him last night on the power play. He didn't look that great. I don't know.
He's hurt. There's no doubt. To
might
me,
be.
he's
He might
definitely hurt.
He might
Without
be.
question. But it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. Because it doesn't matter. Because guess what? They're still dominating these games.
That's
Carter
how deep this
Verhaeghe,
team is, man.
Matthew Tkachuk, no points. Carter Verhaeghe, no points. No points.
Yep.
Sam Bennett, no points.
Mm-hmm.
The game-winning goal was scored by none other than, you ready for this? Jonah Gadjevich.
Former Guelph Storm. Yeah. Yep.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I have a clip. I really have to. I'm sorry. I have to play this clip because I cut it from a thing I saw and I couldn't help but I posted it on my feed because I'm telling you right now, it was the most insane thing. So here it is.
Okay. Oh. I was going to say, I can't really hear it. Anyway, it's Steve. It's him freaking out, we know.
It was him after Game 5. Well, it was in the middle of Game 5.
Oh, about this team sucks, right?
When Boquist scored
the third
to make
goal.
it 3-0, and he was like, the Panthers have Jesper Boquist on their top line, and he's dominating you.
So Marner's legacy will be this. If Carolina goes on to win the Stanley Cup this year,
which I would hate for my own personal reasons.
Yeah, I got it. If they go on to win, Marner's going to have to sit there and reflect on the fact that he couldn't get out of his own way to go somewhere else that's a little bit more quieter for his standard. He would have found himself right now in the conference final, could be on his way to the Stanley Cup final, and you get a chance against Florida. But more importantly, his legacy, go back to Game 5 when Jesper Boquist scored that third goal and the way it happened. That is Mitch Marner's legacy. That's what it's been. Yeah. The guy is skillful. There's no question about it. He can score with all the skill in the world. But I think the moral of the story, not just with this Leafs team, but with the top 4 teams in the NHL in the regular season who are gone, by the way, it just goes to show you once again that the playoffs are a different beast. They are not the regular season. That is not the hockey that you get in the regular season. That is exactly what you get in the playoffs. And in Game 7 last night with Florida, what I witnessed in the first 10 minutes was some of the best hockey, most dominant hockey I have seen in a long time. Anytime the Leafs touched the puck last night in the first 10 minutes before they got a couple breakaways here and there, they didn't have room to breathe. They had nothing. They had every single time they touched the puck or they managed to flip it and get it out, Florida right back in. A couple of shots good on net. Leafs managed to get it out, and Berube was screaming at them to fucking skate last night. So I'm not sure what the future holds here for Toronto, but it's an end of an era. It is over.
Yeah.
Marner's gone. I think Shanahan's gone. I think Craig Berube is going to have a lot of talk with management this offseason because this was his first full year, right? Yeah. And I think he's going to have a lot of say when it comes to the construction of the way that he wants his team next year. Because I bet you he doesn't say it in the media afterwards, but he knows what it takes to win. And when you compare him to when, I believe it was St. Louis when he won the Cup, right?
Yep. As an interim
compare it to that team, holy fuck, it's not even close. And even credit, like, the Leafs had the defense. I actually didn't think Joseph Woll was bad in this series. I didn't think it wasn't his best. It wasn't his worst. But I didn't think he was the main reason why. We all know what the main reason why was, and we're not going to dive into it because we know. So I'm really intrigued now. It's a fascinating offseason coming up because you're right. I think everything's on the table now, right? Because you now have a window, okay, for the next 3 years with Austin Matthews, right? You're not going to have Marner. You're not going to have Tavares at his best, and you're going to have William Nylander, right?
Mm,
It's going to be fascinating to see how they construct it because
yeah.
I believe the window for them, for me, it's like barely open. Okay. They have 3 years still of Matthews, and I still think that trade deadline, you can still get rid of picks. They don't have a prospect pool. You can trade all these picks to try to get some guys, who have no move clause or willing to come there to still formulate something around this team and to make
Yeah.
something work, right? I
Yep.
still think they can. It's going to ultimately come down to Matthews and probably in this case going forward Nylander. But the era is over. And their chances of winning just plummeted until proven otherwise, which it hasn't for the last 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's it. That's all we got to say.
it's different, but I'll say it again. It's different, but it's still the same, and that's the way you have to look at it. So it's gonna be interesting. I think the Mitch Marner. I don't even want to say sweepstakes. I just think the whole thing with it is going to
Not a
be very.
sweepstakes.
It's not. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what his market is.
Yeah.
I just don't
100%.
think Toronto's in that discussion because even if, like, let's say you get rid of Shanahan and maybe even Brad Tree Living, maybe, right? Right?
I'm going to scream at Brad.
I don't, I don't, I don't.
I don't give. What's funny is that there was guys. Jay Rosehill on Leafs Nation said, I think it was after Game 5, if I'm not mistaken, but he was like, I give Brad Tree Living so much credit for assembling this team. The guy he hasn't done shit if you think about it. He simply came in to this core 4, core 5, however you want to fucking put it, right?
Yep.
He walked in and he didn't have to do much. He overpaid for Scott Lawton. He overpaid for Brendan Carlo to shore up the defense in a bottom 6. And you actually had some decent goaltending in Stolarz and Wool. So, like, what did you, Tree Living, do? The only thing that he's realistically done is expanded the lifetime of this Leafs team for another 4 years because you managed to get him Matthews for 4 more years. Tree
Yeah.
Living hasn't done shit, and fuck him for being in Calgary as well, too, because he screwed us, too.
I mean,
I hate him.
he created that
Hate him.
core, and look at what's come of that. No, I mean, again, no offense.
Fuck Brad Tree Living. He ruined years of what could have been
Yeah.
decent playoff appearances from Calgary. I don't know, but you never know.
I would really like to know how, like, Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe, like, internally feel after that last night. I wonder if they feel vindicated a bit. I mean, look, Kyle Dubas was one of the main guys that, like, drafted and got a lot of these guys in, right? Sheldon Keefe was the coach through the majority of that. So yeah, is there blame there from both of them? Sure, 100%. I don't doubt that at all. But I don't blame them fully because there is nothing that they could have said or done that could have changed that core's mentality. Nothing. Like,
what is
literally
exactly? Yeah, like what does that say for everybody else who's gone and come and gone too? Like they're scapegoats. That's all they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was not on them. It wasn't on Keefe. It wasn't on Dubas.
Yeah, it's not even and
it's
look,
not. It's funny. Like it's not even on Tree Living either.
No.
Like,
Tree Living's just continuing what has been continuing.
I don't even think it's on. It's funny.
No, don't
no.
keep Shanahan out of this conversation. He deserves it. He's been there longer than everybody else.
But why?
Because I don't believe that he has the balls to make the necessary changes that needed to be made the last couple of years. I don't believe that because here's the old saying, Kyle, right? Okay. You can't fire players, right? You can't do that. So what do? You fire general managers, you fire head coaches, you do this, that, and the other thing, and it's the same damn thing. And wouldn't you think after 4 or 5 years of this that Brendan Shanahan would sit there and say, oh, gee, you know what? Maybe I need to do something different. Mm-hmm. I want to just say this, and I gave him a lot of credit. Eric Tulsky, it is his first year as the GM of the Carolina Hurricanes. And this man has gone out and done things that GMs have not done in a long, long time. He went out and made the risk of trading for Mikko Rantanen. he went out and made the risk of trading him away and sending him to Dallas. And guess what? He came out pretty damn good. His team is 4 wins away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
So is Randon and the Dallas Stars, but
that's neither here nor there.
That's neither here nor there.
It's one of those trades where you could honestly say that probably both teams won it, and it's fine.
I guess.
Maybe not long term. Who knows how it'll go long term. But in this moment, it looks good. But guess what? That's doing something different than what you've been doing.
Right.
Because the last couple of years, Kyle, with Carolina, they would get a big name player and they would let them walk out the door for nothing. They wouldn't keep them around. People are saying, how come nobody wants to play in Carolina? Right? And Eric Tolsky goes out and does the stuff he did. And in a really weird way, he made them even a little bit better defensively by what he did.
And in the bottom six.
And the bottom six.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good. They're rocking right now.
A lot of it has to do with Freddie Anderson because he's having a really good playoff run.
But still.
Yeah, like I get it a lot. Like Shanahan's gone. Like you need a new sense of direction.
He gotta go.
He's gotta go.
He has to go. Maybe Lou.
But I wouldn't put like all of the. You can't put Shanahan doesn't deserve all the blame.
No, I'm not saying he deserves. No, I'm not saying he deserves all the blame.
Right. It's also like
a big part of it.
It's also maybe on guys in the past who have signed these guys long term to expect something great, and they still get the same thing over and over and over.
Patrick Marleau at $6.7 million. I think about that.
At least he had the same. He's got the same production as Mitch Marner has.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
He's had 2 goals in that one game 7. And Marner's had 2 goals in the last 8 fucking years in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So listen, they're in turmoil. I fucking love every second of it. And every Canadian team has a better sense of direction than the Leafs do now going forward. The Leafs are at the bottom. What? The Canucks?
Even the Canucks?
Yeah, because at least they have prospects.
Yeah, that's fair. They might get more. They might get more.
They might get more. At least they have prospects. At the very least, And the fans, they fucking deserve it. Every single one of them deserves it. And I hope they're in a pit of misery for the next 15 years. So this is my formal, if anybody wants to sign up with a new team application, I suggest you do it now before the start of next season.
Before you get hurt.
Just saying.
Before you get hurt.
All right. That's enough Leaf talk, unfortunately.
That was 48 minutes of Leaf talk, by the way. It's 40, which means the second segment is going to take about 5 minutes to get. I know. We're being honest.
We'll get to DraftKings now, and after the break, we will preview the conference finals coming up for you guys. So stay tuned. If you're ready to win some real cash during the basketball and hockey playoffs, check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball and hockey payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. It's only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
All right. Neil, it's conference finals time. Which one do you want to talk about first? You pick.
Let's go out west.
We spent a lot of time out east. Yeah.
We spent way too much. Let's talk about the west.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about the west. So in both conference finals as well, too, it's the exact same matchups as we had last year. So in the West, it is the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. Same scenario. Dallas does have home ice advantage for this series. The Oilers do not. Edmonton looking to get back to the Stanley Cup final after winning in 6 games last year. I believe Matthias Ekholm is going to eventually be back in this series. I think they said possibly from game 1 and game 2. I don't think he's available. Game 3 and onward, there's a possibility that Ekholm's going to be back in this series. For
Huge.
Dallas, it feels like they're at full strength now. Now with Miro Heiskanen coming back, with Robertson, back into the lineup a bit more now, as we saw in the past series here. What do you like? It's a completely different storyline compared to last year, because the storyline going into these playoffs alone for Edmonton was the goaltending was number one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, Calvin Pickard decided that he was going to be a playoff goaltender. Fair enough. But I think the biggest question will continue to be going into this conference final is the onslaught going to be too much for Edmonton? Is going to be having McDavid and Draisaitl, and you got to get some other guys to chip in here into this series. But do we think that with Dallas, is it going to be too much with the lot of, again, it's a deep team, just like the Florida Panthers here, and Jake Ottinger, who outperformed Connor Hellebuyck in the last series, who's probably going to win the Vezina this year. How concerned would you be as an Oiler fan going into the series? Because it's not the same team as last year. And I, for one, believe the Stars should be favored going into this series.
I would be very concerned without question, because this is a very talented Stars team. Probably one of the most talented Stars teams we've seen in their history. I mean, you got to go back to 1999 in terms of,
even last year though, it was a good
even
team.
Last year. Yeah, I mean,
right?
this is and what's the big difference for Dallas is getting Mikko Rantanen, who is fit in seamlessly in Dallas. He has really, really found a home. And maybe Mikko Rantanen is just a Western Conference kind of guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's literally nothing wrong with that at all. And yeah, I think if you're Edmonton, you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself that you have guys that can step up. And we saw that in the series against Vegas. I mean, even who scores the game winner in overtime of Game 5?
Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner apparently is unbelievable in Game 4s.
Well, that's going to be the question.
Right?
Can Stuart Skinner continue that stretch of play? Because if he can, Edmonton's going to give themselves a really good opportunity. But I just think that it's going to be too much for Edmonton. I don't think that I'm not saying that Edmonton can't hang with Dallas, but I can't see them overcoming how good this Stars team is. And also, the Stars want revenge for last year.
Right.
So this is an incredibly motivated team that really, really, just has impressed me in so many different ways this year. And yeah, it's going to be such a challenge for Edmonton. But yeah, I just think it's going to be too much for the Oilers.
It's funny, we said that with them playing the Kings, and me, I had Vegas, but that's here nor there.
I think I
just see that I've seen this movie too much, where your luck, eventually runs out, right?
Right.
And being the Flames show that we are, fuck them. Right?
The way you said that.
Just fuck them.
Kyle's on a FU tour today.
I've been against the Oilers every series. Not just because of the hate. It's not even really hate. It's just fuck them, really.
That is hate. If you just say fuck them, that means
I guess. But
come on.
It was fair, because with the Kings, I just thought they were more rounded, and I didn't think they were going to fold like they did. With Vegas, I thought that offensively they would be better than what they were. They just became a shell of themselves all of a sudden. So with Dallas, I just have more confidence than I do in either of those two other series to say that I just think that the big dogs are going to show up. I think playing in Dallas now, they haven't lost a game at home since Game 1, I believe, against Colorado.
Correct. Yep.
Right. And they beat the shit out of the Jets, basically. I even thought it was too close in Game 6, and I'll give the Jets a lot of credit. And also shout out to Mark Scheifele, who that was so inspirational to watch.
And also so sad at the end.
It was sad, fair, but I give it's one of the reasons why we love hockey too, because they said it like Jamie Benn could beat the shit out of this guy one day, and then the next day to embrace him like he did because of the tragedy and what happened. I give him all the credit in the world, man. I give that Jets credit a ton of credit as well too for for all the bad luck, like with Morrissey now being out long term, and then obviously what happened with Scheifele. Like I gotta give that Jets team credit, and I hope they can look back on these playoffs and realize that for me it was a success because of the amount of obstacles they had to overcome.
And I don't look at them like they won the President's Trophy, haha, like the curse continues kind of thing. It's like, well, it would have been funnier if they got knocked out in the first round by St. Louis. Just because of like that situation.
At the time, yes. At the
time, yes. Yeah. But you look at Winnipeg in that series, and look, they could have won Game 6, and who knows what would have happened in Game 7.
It's true.
Because weird stuff happens in Game 7s. We've seen.
But also, the one reason why I thought the Jets were still in it, and a big part of it, was Hellebuck, who showed up for 70 to 80% of that series.
And you can't just be there for 70, 80% of the series. You have to be there the whole time in minutes.
Right. Which brings
he's the one guy that I have to put a lot of criticism towards. Because it's funny, you could even say maybe he's like Mitch Marner, but as a goaltender.
I don't think so. I thought he played.
Maybe that's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
He did go to a conference finals in 2017.
He played a phenomenal Game 6, and he shut out the Stars in Game 5 to keep their season alive. So the comparison shouldn't even be there.
Yeah, it's just
I just wanted to like quickly compare it though to this series here. That's what you're going to have to see out of either Skinner or Pickard coming in. That's the level it's going to take, right? You remember watching Mackenzie Blackwood all the way back in that first series. And for the first, like in Game 1, he was sensational, right? Yeah. You're going to need that from this Oilers team. And to start in Dallas, the fact that the Stars have home ice advantage, it's concerning for me. I really think it is. So I've got all the trust in the Stars to get the job done, especially on home ice where they've been really good and they've been feeding that energy. I like Dallas in 6. I do. I think they're going to take care of home ice. I can see Edmonton doing well at home too. And I really think the old adage is going to go that you're not in trouble until you lose on the road. I think that's going to play a huge effect here for Edmonton, right? They have to take one here in Dallas to make it a series. If the Stars go up 2-0, I can't see the Oilers winning 4 of their next 6 going forward. So
to be fair, we said that about LA.
Okay, fair. But
that's different. But this is a different team. Yeah.
Different story here.
Different story.
I just think that you're going to you can't put yourselves in a deep hole against this team, right? We saw that the Jets, they put themselves in a deep hole being down 3-1, and it's incredibly difficult to get back-to-back wins against the Dallas Stars. So I think that they should win this series. I think it writes all over them that they should win it. I think they're somewhat now fully healthy with bringing back Heiskanen and Robertson.
Yeah.
I don't see how the Stars not win this series. I'll take them in 6.
I think this will be a competitive series. I don't think it'll be incredibly one-sided. I do believe that Edmonton will have their opportunities and they will get some wins in. I don't think that it's out of the question, but I do agree with you that I think that it's going to be too much this time around. And look, we both know how hard it is to get back to Stanley Cup finals and look at the two and I say that, and the 2 teams that were in the finals last year are now 4 wins away from doing it again.
Bingo.
But it is hard to get back and go all the way again, right? And you're facing a Dallas team that knows what happened last year, is pissed off that it happened, especially when they had the home ice advantage. And now they get an opportunity with an even stronger team they had last year, and a chance to really, get over the hump and get back to the finals. So I'm with you, and I'm going to say Dallas in 6 as well. I think that's fair, and I think that I could definitely see Dallas taking a game in Edmonton at some point.
I can't wait for Edmonton to make us look stupid for the 3rd time in a row. Or no, did you have Edmonton in that last series when they played Vegas?
I had the Golden Knights in 5, dude.
Yeah, well, they might make us stupid again. Let's be honest. All right, let's take a look at the last one here. It is Florida. It is Carolina.
Rematch it 2 years ago.
Yet again. Florida takes out Toronto last night in Game 7. They will begin their series tomorrow night. So Florida coming in, not as rested as Carolina was as they finished it, I believe, last Thursday against the Washington Capitals here. And they handled their business very well. So, if I'm not mistaken, last year, might be a really stupid thing here, but it was Florida who won 4 straight, correct? Or no?
It was.
It was
Yep.
4
You are
straight? Okay,
correct.
thank you. So, it's not going to be the case this year. I've said it for the majority of the playoffs. I think that Carolina's building is the toughest building to win in these playoffs so
You
far.
are correct.
They're undefeated, and rightfully so. I think it's a brutal place to
Yep.
try and win. Florida was able to do that twice last year. I can't see that happening again this year in Carolina again for games 1 and game 2. I just, for whatever reason, don't see it. I think the biggest keys here are it feels like Bobrovsky's back. I think Florida's finally, it took them a bit against Toronto, but they found their mojo. Game 7 last night and game 5 is the reason why you should fear this team because they're deep from top to bottom.
I agree.
And I agree with what you said earlier that with Tulski making that move to get Logan Stankoven and putting Rantanen back over into the Western Conference, he's going to get some picks on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this series goes 7 games. I think it goes 7. I think it's going to go back to Carolina. I just feel like, yes, this Florida team is better than what it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
But there's moments where last night, Tkachuk, for whatever reason, wasn't at his best. Verhaeghe hasn't really been at his best. Barkov, mind you, he had 2 assists. He was losing the faceoff battle pretty badly.
Sure.
In this series.
Sure.
I don't think he was great on the face-off draw in this series, which he has to, it's one of the many of his strengths that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobrovsky, I thought, was sensational in that series as well. So he has to continue along that path as well, too. Defensively, I thought they struggled a little bit, to be honest, in that series with Toronto. Despite game 5 and game 7, hey, in the first half of that game, at least you gave away like 2 breakaways and maybe 2 2-on-1s or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, that this Florida team's better than last year, but I think there's still some concern going into this series. I think Carolina's hitting a great stride. They are 8-2 in these playoffs, deservingly so. And the fact that they have home ice advantage in this series is going to say a lot. And I bet you they're pissed off from last year too as well. Because
2 years ago.
Right. Funny enough, all those games were fairly close. It's just Florida ended up winning those close battles.
Look at the way they won the series.
Exactly. I'm such of the mindset that I can't see a lot of these games being blowouts like what we saw in this previous series with Florida. And Carolina just manhandling Washington too. I do see it going back and forth. The biggest key is going to be in those moments, in those long moments where you're tied 0-0, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Who's going to be that guy in that game? Who's going to be the guy in the next game, right? I think it's going to be a lot of those moments. I fully believe this goes 7 games. I don't see it being what it was last year. I got to take Carolina in 7 games. I really do. I think I think they can handle their business on the road.
Yeah.
And they've shown so far. And I think they're the best team on home ice in the playoffs. And the boring style of hockey that these guys talk about, I don't get it particularly. I kind of don't get it, really. Like, they're in the conference final for a reason. How fucking boring can it be? Prove me otherwise. But I've got this sneaky feeling that this team's going to continue to be good at home.
Yeah.
Anderson's playing his best stretch of hockey. He needs to continue playing his best stretch of hockey. And I think the most underrated player in these playoffs has been Jacob Slavin. The fact that he wasn't up for a Norris this year, I thought was a bit wild. I think
he's always undervalued. And
fair enough. And you know more about this team than I do.
Carolina.
And you know more about this team than I do. But I think the bottom 6 is better than Florida's, even with Brad Marchand in there. I actually like Carolina's bottom 6 a little bit more because I'm more or less thinking, like, you're not looking at the names. I'm thinking of the chemistry of what we've seen. And I love seeing Logan Stankoven on that bottom 6. Taylor Hall has been spectacular too.
And he signed a 3-year extension.
The biggest thing for Carolina to win this series your big dog's got to show up. It's got to be Aho. It's got to be Seth Jarvis. It's got to be Svechnikov, right?
And you've been on Jarvis. You've been on Jarvis since the beginning.
And despite him, I think he won it in overtime against New Jersey, right?
No.
Or no, he won it at one. So anyway, he did it at some
point. He scored
an
empty netter against the Devils. That's about as.
Yeah, maybe he did.
But he didn't really do much. He didn't have to do very much else. But
not even speaking of the past, but just going into the series, whether he's been that way or not, I don't know. I haven't followed it that much.
Yeah,
but you need them to kind of match what the Leafs were doing initially early on in that series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Carolina has a huge opportunity to do so because Florida, I thought they played their best game yesterday in Game 7, where they flat out dominated. Maybe they didn't have to do much, but that's here nor there. They have to take advantage of Game 1 and Game 2. If they let it slip away, Florida's going to take this series. I can't see it. I like this going the distance. I've got Carolina in 7.
I think you make a lot of really good points on both sides. I mean,
long way of going about it.
The long way of going about it for sure. And, look, Florida's definitely going to come into this series feeling confident. They know that they've played this team before. They know that they're capable of doing what they need to do. And you bring up a good point, right? You can't make too many mistakes against Florida because they'll just make you pay. They will make you pay. But I'm really glad you brought up about how important, because we talk about all the time how important home ice advantage is. In this series in particular, that is so true.
Means everything.
Because as we just saw, both in the first round against New Jersey and then in the second round against Washington, those teams, however you want to look at them, just could not do anything on the road. There was just nothing going for them. Mm-hmm. And Carolina just suffocated them. And it's going to be, I don't expect it to be any different going into this round. I think there's going to be times where Florida's going to look very much off their game because I think that Carolina is, I think their home ice, I think their crowd, their fan base, they come, man. They come in waves and they make it so difficult. And they play their system. I keep saying it, Kyle. I said it in the first round. They play their system so well and play it to a T. And they just get it. And you could
play
say
your identity.
Right. And you could say they play a boring style of hockey. Really what they're playing is a playoff style of hockey. They're just grinding you out. Like I've seen that.
They shut you down mentally.
They just make it look like that you have nothing in the tank. You are just.
It's kind of like the nerdy way of Pokemon where you're using the move Giga Drain. And you're sucking the life out of the Devils. And then in the next round, you're just sucking the life out of the Capitals slowly but surely.
You're right.
I kind of like that comparison. I don't know about you. I thought
that was an interesting comparison. I would not have gone that route. I would look at it as a boa constrictor that slowly is just wrapping itself around.
Same thing.
Is it the same thing? On that?
In theory, sure. Yes. Same thing.
Sure. Okay. But with Florida, you do have to hope that Bobrovsky really is back. He's looked good in the last couple of games, even when they lost to Toronto in Game 6. I don't really blame him specifically for why they didn't get it done. But Freddie Anderson, the big thing I will say, and this is more of a compliment to the defense of Carolina, is that has he been really tested? Has he had a game where he has had to make 30, 40 saves and really stand on his head to keep a team from scoring?
I want to push back on that actually.
Sure, go ahead.
Real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Fair enough that he hasn't been tested against New Jersey and Washington, but that's what Carolina does.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying.
I'm not knocking on Freddie Anderson in this regard. What I'm saying is I'm complimenting the defensive play overall of Carolina, that they suffocate you so much that, it's no wonder that sometimes Freddie Anderson's only seeing 15 shots.
But he might have to make the big save.
Right. And that's another point and there have been times in this playoffs where he has done that. And I give him full credit for it. But I just would like to see, which I don't have to, it's not like something I'm begging for.
Mm.
I'd like to see what would happen if, like, maybe the defense of Carolina has a breakdown where the other team is just pushing back,
right,
and overwhelming them in a way. And I think Florida is the only team, at least in the East, that I could see doing that because they grind you out.
Mm-hmm.
These are two teams that just grind their opponents out. That's what they do. They are very similar in a lot of ways. But I agree with you completely that it's going 7, and I have Carolina as well because I think the home ice advantage is that big of a deal. And the Lenovo Center is a nightmare place to play.
It sucks to play.
I'll use the Devils as an example. The Devils haven't won a game in Lenovo, I think, in about 6 or 7 years at this point.
It's like
that
the
is how
being
hard
in
it
Anaheim,
is,
man.
right?
For what? And I mean, I'm not comparing it because it's not the same atmosphere, but it's just like them being on that streak. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Caniacs to win in 7.
It's so
and watch us be
fascinating.
completely wrong.
Well, it's just so fascinating to see like how damning of a place it really is to play. When Calgary played there earlier this year and they managed to get to overtime because of Dustin Wolf, shocking and surprising.
Mhm.
Like the fact they got a point, I was like, fucking take it and run, man.
It just went away.
Just run with it. Just go ahead, run with it. It's fine. You get your point. Because for whatever reason, it's such a damning place to play.
It is
every single time.
Yes.
And I think that
100%.
I think that it's going to prove vital again.
Yeah.
However, that's why I think that game 1 and game 2, frankly, are not even comparing it to other series, right? With Florida and what Carolina's played. In this series, game 1 and game 2 is going to tell you everything to know about this series.
It will.
Right? I don't like if Carolina loses game 1, the seed of doubt is officially planted.
I agree.
Right? The seed of doubt is there, right? You lose game 1, shit, we lost on home ice. You better win game 2 then.
That's where everyone in the hockey world is going to go, uh-oh. Like, oh, crap.
You're not in trouble.
However you
lose on home.
However you lose it is an uh-oh. But I will say this. If you lose decisively, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Because it makes you wonder, like, with Florida playing, don't forget, they had 3 nights off before game 5 against Toronto. After they won up early against that team, wasn't a lot of effort, right? Game 6, okay, 2 days later, you have to fly back. Yeah, you sucked, fair enough. And then you pulled out again on last night, right? Frankly, they didn't have to do a whole lot in the third period outside of getting up 4-1.
Yeah.
Really, right? Like the back half of that third period, they didn't have to do a whole lot because the Leafs didn't do a whole lot either. I don't think it's fair to say that the Panthers are coming in tired.
No.
I don't think so at all.
I think they're feeling loose, energized, ready to go.
If anything, they're more confident than ever, right?
So, and with Carolina, they've been off for how many days now?
Since Thursday.
So by the time they get to game 1, which is what, tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Okay. Yeah. So the Panthers only have today off, and then it's game 1 against Carolina. For Carolina, that's getting close. That's a little less than a week being off, which
4 days.
If you're not careful, you could be out of sorts and
don't get too comfy.
Yeah, not even getting comfy. It's just more of like, if it takes you a long time to get back into that, kind of, playoff mode again, because you've been off for a couple days, a team like Florida is going to make you pay. And the thing that's scary.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
The thing that's scary is that we just talked about the big dogs for Florida definitely got to step up, but it's almost, but like in a way you think about it, you're like, I mean, do they really have to?
But do you have more faith in the big dogs stepping up for Florida in this series rather than the Svechnikovs, Aho, and Jarvises of the world?
I'll be very honest with you. I have more faith in the Carolina big dogs because we've seen it throughout this playoff year. I mean, Svechnikov is having a really, really strong year. Aho as well. It's just that I'm not seeing enough right now from Barkov, from Tkachuk,
Sure.
To a lesser extent, Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe. They're getting contributions up and down the line. That fourth line for Florida is a nightmare to play against because they not only keep the puck in the zone, they ended up in the back of the net.
Yep.
I mean, AJ Greer, Gadrovich, Jesper Boquist, Tomas
Lundell.
Nosek, Lundell. I mean, that's a really deep team. But I also would argue that I think Carolina is a pretty deep team in its own right. But
A lot of
their
ways to
top
look at
guys
it.
have been stepping up.
Yeah.
Can Florida's?
I wouldn't be
If
surprised
Matthew
if I.
Tkachuk, I'm telling you right now, if Matthew Tkachuk scores a goal in game one, that's going to wake him up, in my opinion.
I think the first 10 minutes of the first period in game one is going to tell a lot. Because if Florida does that, like what they did last night in game 7 against Toronto, and they do that to them, like Carolina, like you can't start sleepy, man, because this team's still, that engine's still going, right? The engine might still be going for Carolina, but it's certainly taken it's very slowly kind of, it's been a couple of days, fair enough,
It's a momentum thing. For Florida, it's
absolutely a momentum thing.
For Florida, it's like by the time game one starts, it'll still be less than 48 hours after you just put belt to ass to Toronto in game 7.
And it's fun. I told you about, what was it? All the way back in the first series with the Devils with Kat from the Surge Cast. Okay. Do you remember when Kat reached out to me when, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about with, it was the Meyer, he ran into.
Timo Meyer hit Freddie Anderson,
right.
and Anderson missed the rest of that series.
And she wanted my third-party opinion about it because I didn't have a horse in this race. Neither do I have any horse in this Metro Eastern Conference race, right?
Yes.
And I gave my third-party opinion. Never heard a word from her since. So, if Carolina falters pretty badly here in this conference final, they're going to hear from me. They are going to.
I'm going to let you do that. I'm not getting into this.
I'll do it 100%.
I can't speak because they knocked my team out. So I can't speak.
Mark my words. If you falter here, okay, I'm coming after you.
If you falter in 6 games, are you going to go after them?
Yeah, probably.
7?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. If they falter,
so I guess in a way, like it doesn't matter.
Not really.
I think the first goal for Carolina is to win a game in the conference finals, which they have not done since 2006.
That's why they have to win game 1.
You got to win game 1 because you got to get that monkey off your back.
Because the seed out will go right back in.
Head coach was still a player the last time they won a game in the conference finals.
Which is why the seed out goes back in after game 1 if they lose.
Yep. Because if you lose game 1, in whatever fashion, you got to sit there for 48 hours and say to yourself, crap, we finally lost at home and we still haven't won a game in the conference finals. And I know that people say, the players are not thinking about it. No, it's been brought up. They have thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it affect them as much as maybe the fans do? No, but the doubt is in the back of your mind if you lose game 1 to Florida. Because now you're thinking, we can't go to Florida down 2-0. We go to Florida down 2-0, we may not be coming back.
Florida, frankly, hasn't played that well at home. I don't. They have because they lost.
Give me one game that they played. Maybe
they won a close game against Tampa in game 4. They lost game 3. Okay, they almost lost it in game 3 to Toronto. They did not play well. They had to come back from that one. Game 4 and game 6, I think I think game 4, game 6 against the Leafs were the only times Florida played well.
And they lost game 6.
Even shutting out.
And they lost game 6.
And they lost game 6. They were in it. They just couldn't offensively score.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good game. I just thought Joseph Woll and Bobrovsky both played fairly well in that game, and deservingly 100%. So. That's the scary thing, is that Florida really hasn't played that well at home this entire playoff run. So you're right. Like if they falter here in game 1, Christ almighty in game 2, I'd be very, very worried going down to Florida. Don't give this team any sort of hope. And that's exactly what the Leafs did. They gave this team a chance, and they
Yeah.
fucking buried them. Rightfully
did.
so. Rightfully so. Okay, cool. Good stuff today. And yeah, man, what a day.
God,
What a day it's been.
Kyle came in guns blazing. I'm just
I
here.
had a lot of pent up
Yeah, apparently,
against the Leafs. I had a lot
yeah.
of a lot of pent up aggression against
My
the Leafs.
Devil's Podcast episode will be a lot calmer than that. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, when you have ties to the Leafs, you
Yeah,
want to burn those ties.
Look, I get that as someone who despises the Rangers. So, like,
Right.
I get it.
Right.
It's the same thing. Fuck them.
IIHF World Championships happening? Anything? So we know that Thursday is.
I mean, there's games on right now, but we are about 2 or 3 days away from the elimination rounds.
Yep.
Which I didn't realize how long the round robin is.
It's so long.
This started on the 9th. It's been going on for 10 days.
Was it the 19th? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's long.
And I think the biggest surprise, I don't want to say biggest surprise, but the thing, Switzerland has really impressed me. I mean, granted, they played Hungary yesterday, but they won 10-0. They really impressed me. And Nico Heischer's not even playing because he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, thank God he's fine, but they didn't want to play him the rest of the tournament.
Right.
But, like, there's only a couple of teams that I see, like, winning this tournament. I could see Switzerland doing it. I could see Sweden doing it. Sweden's goaltending in particular has been really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got Canada. What a shock. Canada's doing well. The U.S. is mid. I'm not even going to try to be on. I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it to people. They're a very mid team,
Sure.
Despite being like second in their side of the tournament.
Sure.
Shout out Slovenia for remaining in the top flight for next year.
Yeah.
Thank God. Well, because I want to see Kopitar play again for Slovenia. That was great in that 2018.
Did he show up for Slovenia or no?
Not no, not.
He never showed up.
No, okay. But he was in the Olympics in 2014. Remember, he was like, and his dad was the head coach.
Right.
I don't know if his dad is the head coach right now, but like,
I don't think so.
No, it's a fun tournament. I would recommend people watching it. It's fun.
So for Canadians, they still have to play Finland and Sweden coming up, and then you get the quarterfinals coming up on Thursday, which we might be live for.
It's true. I think I want to try to go live for one of the conference finals, maybe the East. I hope.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
figure it out this week.
I got a lot more time on my hands. I'm graduating tomorrow, so I'll be at the Prudential Center.
Cap and gown.
Around cap and gown.
How long is the ceremony tomorrow?
3 hours, from 9 to 12.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that I have to be there by 7:30.
Oh.
I have to be there. Well, they say that because because of traffic going into New York. So it's like they want to give you want to, build up time, whatever. And you have to get there, and like the procession starts at 8:30. So I'm there an hour to like basically like sign in, get set up, whatever, and then do it. And then 3 hours, and I'm like, this better be a damn good commencement speech. This better be damn good.
Do they go through every program?
So this is only undergrad, as far as I was told. They have a graduate ceremony. I believe that they just do it in alphabetical order. So as you can see by my last name, I might be one of the last people that go up.
Okay.
So yeah.
I know some colleges here in Canada, like it's a better way to do it. Honestly, I love it, but they'll get it all out of the way in one day, but they'll have it like, okay, if you were under the faculty of arts, if you were under the faculty of business, yada, 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 they put you in like a time slot, right?
Right.
And that's when your faculty is up. Right?
Yeah. I think it's because it's not as big of a university. I think they'll just throw everybody in the same time kind of thing, which is fine. I don't really care.
Doesn't matter.
Personally, because like I didn't get to experience this when I graduated from my community college. Right. So for me, I want to like soak in like every moment and be like, okay, I did it. And then I'm good. I'm going to take a picture in front of the Martin Brodeur statue because why not? Because
of course.
Well, it's there. I mean, it's right there.
Well.
But yeah, I'm really excited about it. And by the time you guys see me, next time you see me, I will officially be I don't want to say I'm already a college graduate because I graduated my bachelor's Graduate.
That's great. No, you should be able to celebrate it. And my only time of celebrating it was during COVID. And I saw my name pop up on a YouTube screen. I went,
You were like, yay.
I went, yay, click. I just needed confirmation that my name was there, and hallelujah.
Did you take a picture of it, or you just like didn't carry?
Yeah, I screenshotted it. Yeah.
All right, fair.
Screenshotted it, and I went, yay, done.
And for anybody that's watching that is going to graduate or did graduate this year, congratulations to you. Awesome accomplishment. And yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I can't today. Just the way you said, fuck him. That should have been the title of this episode. Just
I might. I haven't clipped anything in a while.
No, you have to. There's about, I think, 3 different times.
I know. I'm really lazy. I might.
You was on a roll with clips, and now we gotta get back.
I was really lazy with it because
that was a rant.
It was. Yeah.
That was about as good. That was at the same level as like when Elias Lindholm got traded to Vancouver.
I'll throw myself in the fire because I know, like, I've done it with
you
before, and like you got fucking railed. Dude, so I think it's only appropriate that I put myself in the fire. Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Okay, I'll wait. I have to do it tomorrow because we'll process that. Yeah, but so we will be back next Monday. And I'm gonna just quickly check here. We will have so Monday of next week will be game 4 for Carolina and Florida. Game 4 on Tuesday of next week is Edmonton, Dallas. So we'll be recapping the first 3 games of this conference final, and then next week we will hopefully
tell everybody that our predictions have been totally wrong.
We're wrong. Yeah, but that's good stuff. Good stuff as always today. Congrats for graduation tomorrow as well too.
Thank you.
And we will catch you all next Monday with hopefully more Flames news. So sounds good, and we'll see you all then. Later, everybody.